You are disgusting. Don't you know what you're doing is a sin? You make me sick. These are the words I heard on the other end of the phone, and I could feel my stomach drop. My face was hot, and my body was shaking, and I was trying to understand why. How could they know? And that was just the beginning. The phone calls kept coming, and people were coming up to me on campus, sneering and turning their backs. And these were friends, people I trusted, my teammates, members of the fellowship where I'd found my spiritual haven. And one painful day, my life collapsed. An ex-boyfriend had outed me as gay. And this isn't how I wanted to tell my Catholic conservative family. But news spreads fast in small-town Mississippi. And I wanted to be the one to tell them. And my mom wept openly. And my dad stared me in the eyes and he said, "Don't you think you're going to go to hell?" And my older protective brother, he said, "Meagan, you should leave Mississippi. You'll be safer somewhere else." And he wasn't wrong. Not long before that, a friend of mine had been beaten to death at a McDonald's for looking gay. I felt crushed, unlovable, terrified. I was just 22 years old, and it felt like I was losing everything and everyone. So I called the one person who I thought might support me. He was my spiritual mentor from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We decided to meet at the chapel at Mississippi State's campus. And he said to me, "The Bible says that if you continue to participate in a homosexual lifestyle, you will burn in hell." And all I could hear was my heart breaking, because I realized I was just a label now, not a person. Have you ever had a moment like that? You know, I thought human connection was this thing that was supposed to bring us together. But that day I learned that it also has the power to pull us apart. Human connection broke me. And for the first time, I hated who I was. How was I supposed to get through it? My response was to leave Mississippi. I was gone for 6 years, traveling, starting my speaking and writing career, getting into really, really bad relationships. I even dated a guy. To test the waters, of course. I found a spiritual center when I was living in Colorado, and that's where my true healing began. It's also where I met my now wife, Claire, 15 years ago. Thank you. After she grabbed my ass in a meditation class. And she claims to this day that she had not been with a woman before me, but let me tell you, I don't believe her. Eventually, I realized that I needed to return to Mississippi to heal. I felt an emptiness inside of me that couldn't be filled until I faced my family and my community head on, now rooted in what I thought was my power. It was harder than I ever imagined it would be. I hid Claire from our landlord from fear of being kicked out. I was fired from jobs when people found out I was gay. I wouldn't dare hold her hand in public. And I heard a small child call us disgusting. The shame was deep, but I was determined to love myself and to love others. I refused to continue the cycle of discrimination and point the finger back. Out of complete desperation, I started sharing my story. I shared it on my blog, on social media, on stages, in my books, and on the news as a way to connect with others. And the shift for me didn't happen overnight. But over the years, opportunities for healing and transformation happened. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes issued an apology to me after my story landed on the front page of all the newspapers. I had meaningful conversations with preachers and priests. My parents and I did the work necessary to become best friends again. I got to help my hometown have its first Pride Parade in 2018. And I got to realize my biggest dream and gave birth to my daughter 5 years ago. My healing happened because I was willing and I chose to be vulnerable. We are all connected. But the greatest barrier to meaningful human connection is how we choose to love in the face of fear. Human connection almost killed me, but it also healed me. And it can heal our world if we let it. We just cannot give up. Thank you.